My name is Dalton Honeycutt, and today I'm going to talk about my program evaluation of the Miami-Dade County School System's voluntary pre-kindergarten programs. Now, the program itself is a voluntary pre-kindergarten program. The idea of the program is that if you provide structured education to students that are about to enter kindergarten, they're going to have stronger kindergarten readiness rates. Now, recently, the program's actually raised its standards for what would be considered kindergarten ready. However, this study is going to focus on the raised standards rate just to see how the program was functioning in the past and how it can improve in the future. The stakeholders for this program would include the beneficiaries, which would be the students and the parents. It would include the operational stakeholders, so the Miami-Dade County Public School Systems. And then it would also include the funding and regulatory stakeholders, which would include the FDOE, which is the the Florida Department of Education, and it would also include the Florida Legislature, which is the one that decides how much funding these programs are going to get. Now, the goal of this assessment is to see how these programs affect kindergarten readiness rates, and we want to isolate these from the socioeconomic factors that might occur within this program, as different students may have different levels of funding from their parents or different support from their parents. So the study itself isolates that, and we're also going to use this information so we can better see how these programs can improve and also offer some recommendations on how to improve the efficiency of the program itself. There are some specific variables that are going to be studied here. That would include instructional intensity and attendance within the program. Instructional intensity is specifically referred to as the half-day versus full-day programs. So there's half-day programs for students, and there's also full-day instructional periods for students, and we're going to compare those. And there's also attendance rates, so people who attend more and attend less of these programs. So the theory of this program is that the more instructional time that a student has, the more kindergarten ready they're going to be, and that includes attendance as well and the instructional intensity, so half-days versus full days. So some supporting data for this is that the 20% of students within Miami-Dade school systems actually have higher kindergarten readiness rates than students that are in private schools. So this evaluation is serving to look at the program itself and to see what's creating this. This shows right here just a small logic model to explain how the program operates. Within the program itself, there's different inputs, so different types of programs and different amounts of funding that lead to different activities like instructional delivery, so full day and half day programs, which leads to outputs like more students that are getting things out of this program because they have instructional hours that are delivered to them, and there's more enrollment and completion of these programs. This leads to outcomes that eventually guide to higher kindergarten literacy rates and higher kindergarten readiness rates. This program evaluation used a quasi-quantitative design. So the reason why I didn't use a randomized control trial is because there's ethical concerns with providing education to one group of people and then not providing it to another. I used the STAR Early Literacy Assessment, which is the same assessment that's used by the the Florida Department of Education. And I used the kindergarten readiness metric, which is defined as meeting a score of 690, which was the previous benchmark for the Florida Department of Education. Now, I used different comparisons, so I compared full-day programs and half-day programs, I compared Title I programs and full-day programs, and I compared people that are actually participating in the program and people that aren't participating in the VPK programs. This allowed for different methods of comparison, so that way we could see the different ways that this program affects different groups of people, and also exactly how much this program is actually helping kindergarten readiness rates. So the Miami-Dade school system actually had higher readiness rates than non-district programs. So people outside of Miami-Dade actually found themselves not having as high of readiness rates as the Miami-Dade school system. Additionally, there were students that actually completed the program, who attended about 70% of the program's classes, that actually also had higher readiness rates. And there was also support for the fact that full-day instruction actually offered stronger readiness rates than half-day instruction. So whenever comparing Title I programs to the full-day programs, we were able to see that there is a difference in readiness rates. Now, why does this matter? It matters because full-day programs are also included within Title I, and so this actually allows us to control for the instructional period itself. This basically just means that because both have full-day instructional periods, we can just see what the socioeconomic impact is doing. Title I programs include poor students, and the fee-supported program full days instructional periods are for students that have more money and can afford to pay for the program itself. And we can see that there is a higher readiness rate for people that are able to afford the fee-supported program. So this does show that there is some impact that is created by the socioeconomic impact of these students. It also means that high instructional intensity is not the only thing that is going to impact how these students are able to get stronger education levels. This is important for us to understand as we see how these programs impact these students. So there are 3 key recommendations that I can offer based off the evaluation itself. First, the program needs to be expanded into full day funding. Rather than just having the half-day programs even be offered, the state needs to maximize the potential of the program by offering full-day instructional periods for all students. Secondly, I would suggest adding subsidies for equity. Now, the way that you would do this is likely by using some other metric to determine socioeconomic factors. For example, students that qualify for free lunch would be a good example of people that need to be subsidized so that way they can afford the program. Full-day instructional periods are necessary to maximize output for this program, and so subsidizing students that need it the most, so the students with lower socioeconomic status, as we mentioned earlier, which have lower kindergarten readiness rates, would improve the average of kindergarten readiness in Florida. Finally, there also need to be structures to improve attendance within the program. As we said, 70% completers of the program tend to have higher kindergarten readiness rates than people that don't finish the entire program. So adding a structure that allows for warnings to parents or to the school system itself that students are not coming to these programs will allow for the program itself to improve its attendance and then also allow for higher kindergarten readiness rates. If the Miami-Dade County school systems implement these different changes and recommendations, it's going to find itself more easily achieving the new benchmark that the Florida Department of Education has set for its students. It will improve kindergarten readiness rates, and it will lead to more equitable changes within the state itself.